How do we know that the Bible is trustworthy and reliable? In today's video, Cliffe Knechtle goes through the evidence and the history of the Bible to show that the Bible is trustworthy and reliable, and it was actually written by the eyewitnesses of Jesus Christ.
How do we know the Bible is accurate, we can trust it? Because I know it's been translated, how do we know it's true or it to be true?
Okay, great question. How do you know the Bible is reliable? I'm more concerned about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John than I am concerned about the Old Testament, because it's in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John that we read about Jesus. So, what is the evidence that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are historically reliable? I hope that you have tests that you use to determine the historical reliability of any document that claims to be historically accurate. I hope you don't just blindly say, oh yeah, I'll accept that. Oh no, I won't accept that. That's naivete. That's gullibility. I have 4 tests that I use. If you don't like my test, believe me, I'm not going to be offended. But you got to come up with your own test that you use to determine historicity. My 4 tests are: how close to the events did the writing occur? It used to be taught on every major university campus in the United States that the Gospels were not written until the 200s or 300s, a couple hundred years after Christ. All the manuscript evidence that we've discovered over the past 100 years shows false. The Gospels were all written in the 1st century by eyewitnesses or by those who knew the eyewitnesses. Secondly, what gives us any degree of certainty that we really have what the eyewitnesses wrote? Today, the New Testament that we have in English is based on over 5,200 Greek manuscripts or pieces of manuscript dated from the 2nd through the 10th century AD, all agreeing to an infinitesimal degree. There's no document from antiquity that can even approach the New Testament in manuscript evidence. Third test, archaeology. Did Jesus float a boat on the Sea of Atlantis? No. Jesus floated a boat on the Sea of Galilee, archaeologically verifiable places. Fourth test, are there contradictions within the multiple attestation of the historical Christ that show us that the authors were confused at best, if not lying? Yes, there's a tremendous internal harmony between Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Are there differences? Yes, there are. The same way that if I take my family on a vacation and you interview each one of my family members when we get back from our vacation, you will find different details included by my wife, different details included by my 3 sons, different details included by me. That's what you want when you study history. You want different eyewitness accounts. They're not going to be carbon copies, because if they're carbon copies, they just copied off each other. You want differences in the text, but not contradictions. If they're contradictions, then the question of reliability raises to a higher level. So, when you take those 4 tests, apply them to the New Testament, the evidence is not that the Bible's a word of God. Nobody can show, I can't show the Bible's a word of God. But you can show that the Gospels are historically reliable. So simply read them as history and ask yourself, does the historical evidence point to Christ being the truth? Or does the historical evidence point to Christ being a quack? If he's a quack, reject him. If he's the truth, trust in him. But you better make your decision based on evidence. You better not just blindly believe. Does that make sense?
So yeah, there is so much evidence to show that the Bible is truly historically reliable and trustworthy. There is so much more evidence that you guys should search up about the Bible and the eyewitnesses and the Gospels. But the one piece of evidence that really compels me to believe that it's true is all of the disciples, all of the eyewitnesses died for what they had seen. Not for a belief, but they died for what they have seen. And no one dies for a lie. There is no reason for someone to die for a lie, to know that's a lie. So the eyewitnesses must have saw something to die for what they have seen, which really what compels me to believe that the Bible is true. Anyway, what do you think of this? Let me know in the comments down below.